Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Dancing Oracle with me, Najia. We're going to focus on more intuition in these readings and how to navigate some of the changes coming up and why not to worry. Why not worry? So, I will be posting a lot of my premonitions that sound dire and scary, but today's video is going to help you feel good. Because if there comes a loss of life, you will know that you are connected forever and that you will meet again. And I'm going to talk about my experience with that, with my furry friends, with the pets that have lived with me. And we all love the little boo-boos. We all love our fluffy critters who just warm our hearts, but they don't have the longevity in their lifespan that we're allotted. Cats, 15, 20 years. And these are the loves of my life, is having the cats live with me and also the stray cats living outside my house on my front porch. So I want to talk about an experience I had with my childhood cat, right? So I had this childhood cat that lived until about 13. Um, and I mean, she was there since my early childhood until until I moved out. I mean, I until I had just moved out, but moved into a place that I couldn't bring her, that didn't have cats allowed. But I was living very close to where my parents lived, so that I could go visit her every weekend. Plus, I also worked there on the weekends. I worked out in the town near my parents, waitressing, so I could, sleep over there on the weekend and be with my sweetheart kitty cat. Anyway, when she passed, I was devastated because we were really connected, and and then I'm living in another city at this time when another cat uh, comes into my life through my parents' house. So what happened was my brother, he found a cat at the bowling alley where he would go bowl with my dad, and he brought the kitty home, and he's really, very loving with pets. And he thought everything would be fine, except the cat wanted to play with his baby daughter's feet in the crib. So, with her claws. So that was like, okay, cat's going over to our mother's house because he couldn't put it back in the bowling alley, out in the alley of the bowling alley. He found the cat in the alleyway of the bowling alley. So that's funny. I just realized that. So he brought this cat over to my mom's house where she lived for many years. And then I would visit as usual. I would visit family. And that cat was so attached to me, would sleep with me, would only, like when I was there, wouldn't take food from anyone else, only took food from me. And then Sometimes for my dad, I found out he she took food from him because he would warm the food up in the microwave for her, even though he acted all grumpy about having a cat around. I found out later he would take the he would always act grumpy. Oh, these darn cats tripping me. He had diabetes, so he was really afraid of falling and having a sore that could actually kill him. Because diabetics don't heal from their wounds. It's very difficult. So he was kind of grumpy about that, and he would act grumpy about it. But then I saw him warming up cat food in the microwave, and he acted all embarrassed. And he goes, "Well, you got to put water in it and warm it up because it's hard for her to just go and lick cold food all clumped together." And I thought, oh, my dad, if I didn't already think my dad was the sweetest man on the planet, I thought he's even more sweet in my eyes. He's trying to cover up how sweet he is to the kitty cat and do special things for her. Well, anyway, so the cat was living with them, very attached to me. And then when I was moving back to that same town, but into an apartment, I moved back in close, like 10 minutes from my parents' house. And I had this nice apartment that allowed pets. And I had brought my other cats there. And my mom said that, why don't you bring this cat to your apartment? Because she's so attached to you. She ignores us. She thinks you're her master or whatever. I'm not her master. Believe me, she was my master. If you have a cat, you know you're their slave. Until the day they die, you do everything they ask for, and plus you have to tell them how gorgeous they are, and worship them. Cats love adulation. So anyway, I said, okay, why not? As long as they all get along, I'll bring her. So I brought her to my apartment. She became, after what, I don't know, 8 or 10 years, officially mine, living with me. And then I bought a house later, and she moved into my house. And then she had cancer, and I had to put her to sleep, because it got real bad. So I had to make that decision. And when I was struggling with the decision, she walked over to me and touched my paw, like to say, it's okay, I'm ready to go. And I brought her to the emergency vet at like 11:30 at night. I didn't want her to suffer any longer. So right after she passed, I started having phenomena happen. The same type of phenomena that happened when my good friend Don passed away. Don was a co-worker of mine, and we became friends. He died of AIDS a long time ago. Don used to send me postcards, wonderful postcards and letters. Oh my God, if he wasn't gay and 30 years older, we would have been an item. I just adored him, and he treated me so well. Anyway, after he passed away, his postcards would fly out of shelves and books and appear out of thin air or fly across the room. It was literally like poltergeist activity. And this was after I had done some type of special prayers for people I loved. I mean, it happened after he passed away, and it happened years later. And this, when I would think of him, things would fly around and just appear. And then later I did some special prayers. I went on pilgrimages and things, and it helped to raise the vibration of my loved ones. And then that started happening again. So this thing with the pictures flying around happened with my when my kitty cat passed away, the second cat, right? And the pictures would just fly and then land on the floor, land on my head. All this weird stuff kept happening. And I kept calling whatever picture it was. There was two different pictures were flying of the two different cats that both passed away. The one I grew up with from childhood, and then the one that was in my mom's house until I moved locally, and that cat moved in with me. And I kept both of their pictures kept coming out of nowhere. I mean, it just kept happening. Or a picture would like fall on my head, like a picture frame would fall on my head, or the pictures would fly. They would happen in my house here, would also happen in my mom's house. The pictures of the cats, the the old the old cat and the newer cat, the both who had passed away. And I kept interspersing their names and calling them by the wrong name. And I'm like, oh, is that one trying to get in touch with me? I don't want to say their names because sometimes we use them as passwords, so I don't want to say them publicly. But I would interject the names and switch them by accident. And it kept happening. And it dawned on me, no two cats are alike. No two cats are alike. And these cats were so much alike in personality. I've lived with so many cats. I've fostered so many cats. I am the childless cat lady. Anyway, we all know that joke. Anyway, so sorry, my mind is digressing to politics as the childless cat lady. Uh, but anyway, anyone who has ever lived with cats, different cats, you know they are so unique. No two cats are alike. And then it dawned on me, oh my God, they are so much alike. They're so much alike. I think the second cat was the first cat, reincarnated, come back to live with me. Went back to my mom's house until I could take her to my apartment and house. And I got to see her on the weekends. So I really, really feel that these two cats were literally the same cat. I know it. I know it. And the psychic phenomenon was showing me because it happened like 7 times. It happened so many times in that 10-day period until I said, oh my God, they're the same cat. And then the poltergeist activity ceased because I got the message. And then recently, in more recent years, I had my soulmate cat, a different cat. This big flirt that would flirt with all my students and friends. He just loved the ladies. And he got sick suddenly. And I contacted an animal communicator. Her name is Jane. And she knew nothing about me. And when I called her, I said, my cat is really sick, and I wanted to have your advice about, what's going on before the doctor comes. I had a doctor come to the house. Could do anything for your kitty, house calls and everything, because he passed during the pandemic when you had to drop your cat off, and I knew he would I had to be with him, wasn't going to drop him off at the vet. So I had someone come out, and I called a psychic, pet communicator and psychic. And the first thing she said to me, and by the way, he had a really feminine name. Everyone thought, and he looked girly, and everyone thought he was a girl. And the first thing she said was, even with his feminine name, like, he is all male. He is all male and he loves his ladies. And oh my God, that was so true. And he wants to tell you he's sick, but he's had a great life. He loves you, mom, and all your friends who whirl and twirl for him. She said, he loves to watch you whirl and twirl. Now, she did not know I was a belly dancer. So I was always, practicing and for my shows and, twirling with the veil and things. And my friends would come over and some dance students and things. And we'd have parties here every month. So how would she know that? So immediately I trust her. I'm like, okay, two things she's got him covered about what goes on. And then I called her a year and a half later and I said about the other kitty. And I didn't know that she could speak to a cat that's already passed away. I didn't know that she was also a medium. I knew she was an animal communicator, but Jane is also psychic. By the way, her website is Talks with Pets, Talks with Pets, and she's in California. Okay? I will put a link in the description when I post this because she's really good. She may not always tell you what you want to hear, you know. Sometimes your cat wants other things. But I do trust her communication with them. So then I said, I really miss Francesco. Oops, I didn't mean to say his name. um, and I just said, will he reincarnate and come back? Because I think that happened with another cat. In fact, I know it happened with another cat of mine. And she said, he's not sure because he doesn't like the other cat living with you right now. She's spastic and bipolar. When that's how he described her. But this other cat that I adopted is a feral cat, and she acts bipolar or crazy and spastic. So I could see how wouldn't get along with her. And of course, she's living with me now, right? So so Jane said he's thinking about it. He's still like a James Dean kind of character, acts all cool, hair slicked back kind of thing, smoking a cigarette. That's how he is on the other side, that kind of cool guy thing he gives. But when he reincarnates, he's going to come back different. He's going to try out a different type of personality, not the flirty, love, whatever love boat, whatever love bug with the ladies. And that he wants to come back as a black, really shiny cat with gold eyes. So he's going to come back as a black cat with gold eyes if he decides to come back. He says, if he comes back, you have to promise that the other cat doesn't sleep in the bed. And I said, it's been like a few years and the other cat will not sleep in my bed. She's too feral. She sleeps on the couch and she won't come in there with me. She, she's too scared. She's too feral still. I don't think she's going to change. It's not a problem. He can have the bed all to himself with me if he wants me all to himself. So, less than a year later, a cat colony appears in my backyard. 12 cats suddenly appear in my backyard this 1 week, including a shiny, fluffy black cat with gold eyes. It was a black cat with a little tiny patch of white right here. And I just assumed it might be him. So because of the black color and the little white collar, I called him Little Priest. I go, Little Priest, treat treats. But he was really, really feral. And I had to work on this cat. I mean, just think about when this cat appeared after, less than a year later after our talk. And then it took from late summer until Christmas time, right before Christmas, to make friends with this cat. This cat would hiss at me, ask for treats, of course, how many times a day, crying for the treats. I was doing everything to make friends with this cat, and I was putting food through the mail slot so he'd get used to my hand, the smell of my hand. And I was making up songs for this cat. The cat had his own songs and everything. I was determined because I thought this cat reincarnated, and my heart just like, I love this cat. So then one day the miracle happened. As I was feeding this cat, I was able to touch the top of the head neck, and cat started purring real loud, like really, really loud. And I thought, oh my God, we're friends, we're finally friends. He doesn't think I'm going to eat him or something horrible. And then the cat disappeared for 8 days. Like it was too much, got scared, it got freaked out, it disappeared. I called Jane. I'm like, oh no. And Jane's like, this cat wants to be outside and is very independent and doesn't want to be trapped indoors, even though it's a struggle. Once it's independence and hard life, it's right. But I kept praying because I'm like, winter, I mean, the snow's coming. This is serious, you know? This is a little tiny skinny cat and kind of bony on top, even though I fed the cat so much. So I kept praying, and I was putting my cameras all over the front porch and the back porch, like the crazy cat lady. Every time I could hear a cat, I put all my camera settings on cat detection and meows. And then finally, after praying and praying, and I'm just like talking on the inner, like, please come live with me. Don't you remember who you might be? This other cat that died, you know, and it's so nice here. And I'm thinking the physical cat doesn't know who they are, doesn't remember the life, is just scared and in feral mode. But I thought maybe the oversoul of the cat, if this cat is my other cat, the oversoul will remember its past life and want to live with me. Well, that miraculous day, I see the cat on camera as a recording from hours earlier. I wake up and I'm like, oh my God. And I'm calling, treat treats, little priest, treat treats. And the cat comes running with its tail up. Now, for how many months now? A year, 10 months to a year. This cat always walked low to the ground, stealth with the tail down, which means they're scared. And then all of a sudden, the cat's all tall and upright, fluffy tail up in the air, and runs up to me, meow, right? Like, and then just like rubbing me and purring and talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. Just talked for 3 hours straight. The cat would not let me leave it. The cat kept trying to get in my house, but I couldn't let the cat in my house yet because I had another cat, and you can't mix outside cats with inside cats until you get medical tests done and vaccinations. So I had to wait till I could trap the cat with the help of a rescue organization. And this cat had a complete, I almost thought it was a different cat. That's how, but it's the same cat. It's a very fluffy cat with that little patch of white, very silky, shiny, extremely shiny cat. I've never seen a black cat so shiny in my life, whose hair looks like plastic. It's incredible. And it's like the cat remembered the inside of the house and like, I belong there. I need to go there. I know who you are. And I remember you now. And it was super, super affectionate. And it was just wouldn't let me go. So I'm out in the cold. It's January now. It's like, or the end, it's like, right, no, it's January 1st or something. Or it's literally, or New Year's Eve, or something right around that time because I couldn't get the surgery and the trapping until January 2nd because of the rescue or because of the holiday. And I was extremely depressed over Christmas because that's when the cat was missing and it was a hard Christmas. But the cat comes back, my big Christmas present from the heavens. And anyway, after the surgery, we find out it's a girl. So that's what Jane meant by a whole different personality. But the interesting thing is, this cat did all the same gestures that the old cat that passed away did the first couple months that it came to live here. And it did all the same gestures that it no longer does, but it did it the first couple months. Like this cat would find a way of very lovingly taking the side of its mouth and rubbing the side of my hand really slow, kind of seductively. It was kind of weird. Um, it was the flirt cat, right? I don't know, but it was sweet because the cat would be like, "Thank you, thank you, I love you," and the cat would lay out with his paws and look at me and then look at the paws, like, "Look how cute my paws are." It did all these different things. Sounded like my old cat, whined like my old cat, still kind of does that. There were so many things this cat did that were just like the cat that passed away. And then I did call Jane and said, Jane said, that is your old cat. Come back to you. That I was wrong. And in fact, before I even called her, she told me I didn't mean to be so curt or something like that. There's more to the story than I told you, and I wasn't as connected as completely, and I tuned in later, and she said, I wanted to call you and tell you I think that cat is meant to be with you. And I said, she is with me. Oh, and she kept saying, I keep getting that it's a female or with a male personality. This cat, I kept calling Little Priest. I thought it was a guy. She goes, no, I'm getting that this is a female, but with a very dominant male personality, and that does fit. Anyway, so I wanted to tell you that as we experience all these changes on the planet, we've already gone through a number, and we're going to go through a whole bigger one next. And I thought I'd soften it with some fluffy cat stories, and that life continues, and we are soul families, not just human soul families, even our pets. We are soul families, and we travel through lifetimes together. So I'd love to hear from you if this has happened to you. Do you have a pet that is reincarnated that you swear is the same one that you had before and come to be with you again and live with you? I would love to hear from you, and let's keep those good stories going and circulating. Um, Tune in again. Thank you for making time to listen to me and my stories. And I hope that you not only tune in to my videos, but you tune in within. Okay? Bye bye for now. Be sure to like and share the video, okay?